Imagine waking up one day to a world where private equity just vanished. No warning, no adjustment period, overnight. Think about what that means. Your deals, your growth plans, your exits, the lifeblood flowing through the veins of your strategy, suddenly cut off. Markets freeze, innovation stalls. The delicate balance that holds complex economies together snaps. Ever felt the pressure of needing that critical capital to accelerate your vision? Now imagine it just disappears, like a ghost fading before your eyes. The clock is ticking, your competitors sense the chaos, and you're left scrambling, desperate for alternatives. But what options do you really have? Private equity is not just another line on a balance sheet. It's the fuel that ignites transformation in businesses struggling just beneath the surface. It's the midnight oil burnt by founders, by teams fighting tooth and nail to rewrite the rules of their industries. Without this torch, entire markets contract, jobs vanish, breakthrough ideas die. It feels like freedom, but what if that freedom was an illusion masked by the steady rhythm of deals closing and capital flowing? That rhythm keeps you going but relies on private equity's heartbeat to keep alive the companies in dire need of rebirth. You know the stories firsthand, companies clawing back from the brink because PE stepped in with strategic insight and bold capital. That turnaround CEO trusted by investors to push through resistance and throw away what no longer works. What happens when that confidence and that backing evaporate? The risk explodes exponentially. Suddenly, you're left with less than hope. You are left navigating a desert without a compass. You feel the panic bubbling because deep down this isn't just about finance. It's about survival, influence, building something that lasts beyond your lifetime. Without private equity, the world shrinks. Opportunities become targets of fear. Innovation that dares to break molds falls silent. But here's why this matters to you. If you're a leader, an investor, a true mover, it's because this scenario exposes your most vulnerable fears, but also your highest potential. The absence of private equity isn't just a threat. It's a brutal spotlight revealing cracks in the system you rely on. It forces a reckoning. Are you truly in control, or are you tethered to structures that only serve a status quo? This moment strips away comfortable myths, brutal and raw, demanding new ways to thrive. Yes, the system looks fragile, but that's exactly why transformation is possible. The kind of transformation that comes only when the old order falters. Here's the brutal truth. Relying on a single source or method to fuel growth is a chain wrapped around your ambition's neck. If private equity disappeared, the way you build, scale, and influence must change. This isn't about despair, it's a call to arms for radical new thinking. You must become sovereign over your own story, and capital must no longer be an obstacle, but a tool mastered with creativity and relentless curiosity. Think beyond traditional investors. What about unlocking value from overlooked pools of capital, forging alliances that are not transactional but transformational? What if the power lay not in waiting for the system to act, but in creating parallel streams of growth and influence? Don't underestimate what's possible when you reject the notion that private equity holds the sole keys. The system failed to create real connection between exceptional individuals. That's the real problem beneath all this noise. The rare minds, the founders, managers, investors, are often stuck fragmented, isolated, missing the synergy needed to radically reshape markets. Without private equity, it's not the end. It's a tear in the veil showing you a new horizon, a frontier where a network grows organically from trust, fierce alignment, and complementary strengths. Imagine a collective where support isn't greedy or competitive, but laser-focused on mutual breakthroughs, where risk is shared but vision multiplied. In this space, you're no longer a passive recipient of capital, but a sovereign player shaping reality on your terms. Deals transform into partnerships fueled by passion, strategy, and unyielding integrity. You learn to question everything, every assumption the old world taught you. What if risk isn't something to be avoided but mastered? What if scarcity of resources isn't catastrophe, but a catalyst for unprecedented innovation? The disappearance of private equity, then, becomes a crucible forging new leaders who refuse to be confined, who burn brighter precisely because the old lights went out. This is a test of who you really are. Will you cling to the broken promises of comfort, or will you embrace the fire of transformation? You have within you the power to redefine success beyond quarterly returns and headline deals. The future belongs to those who dare to build ecosystems of trust that amplify individual brilliance instead of fitting it into molds. These are the few who will rewire finance not as a cage, but as a launchpad, connecting disparate talents, ideas, and resources into a living, breathing force, competing with rigidity and complacency. Think about this. Private equity disappearing overnight unmasks the world's addiction to convenience and shows the cost of relying on structures designed for conformity. This painful wake-up call reminds you that true freedom is ruthless. Ruthless in the way it demands ownership, clarity, and relentless pursuit of what's next. If you want to wait for the system to rebuild itself, you'll be waiting forever. But if you choose to see opportunity in collapse, you'll be the first to create a new playing field, one where rarity, authenticity, and deep connection become your greatest assets. The world is full of talkers and noisemakers, but the real power, the real transformation comes from unlearning old comforts, from burning everything that no longer sparks your fire. This moment, this hypothetical darkness without private equity, carves out space where the radical thrive, not by accident, but by design. You must dare to be the exception, to demand new standards, and to align fiercely with those as hungry as you are. Imagine a world where money follows passion and strategy, not the other way around. Where every partnership pushes limits rather than playing safe. Where your network isn't just a list of contacts but a web of relentless energy and shared vision. So don't fear this scenario, own it. See it as a call to rewrite all the old rules about capital, leadership, and influence. The disappearance of private equity overnight is not an end, but a powerful crack opening the future's door. What falls away are the illusions of stability and comfort, but what rises is a new breed of leaders who refuse to be caged by the past. The secret is simple yet radical. To thrive without private equity, you must become more than the system ever expected. More connected, more sovereign, more relentless. Let this thought burn in your mind. The power never lay in private equity alone. The power has always been in those who adapt, who question, who refuse to settle. When one path disappears, 1,000 others emerge, waiting to be lit with the fire only you can create. Harness the chaos. Find the rare connections. Build bridges where others see chasms. This is the moment not just to survive, but to transform. To turn the disappearance of private equity from a nightmare into your greatest opportunity. And when you emerge from this fire, stronger than ever, you'll know. This was never about private equity. It's about unleashing the individual behind the title, the vision behind the venture, the power behind the risk. The system only holds you down if you allow it. When you refuse, when you align with those who burn like you do, when you master your own will and redefine the game, nothing can stop you. The future belongs to those who dare to build it, especially when the old world shatters. This is your moment. Stand ready.